Dota 2. Dota 2 is a game by Valve, based on a game made by the community as a mod on a game made by Blizzard, more or less. Dota 2 does not officially stand for Defense of the Ancients anymore since Valve could not get the rights to that name. It did, however, manage to maintain the rights to the Dota franchise itself as a whole, and thank God it did. Now, I don't have any prior experience to this franchise, and I never played the original Dota myself, but from what I gathered, and from my interactions with the community, they have done a great deal in trying to keep it as much of the original alive in their own official reboot, which is more than I could say for what Blizzard would have done had they managed to gain the rights to this franchise. Since Blizzard has a reputation for going on their own direction and pretty much doing whatever the hell they feel is right. Which is awesome, I guess, as long as they do it for their own MOBA and leave the other community created franchises to teams that will pay homage to those original communities. Unlike my previous MOBA experiences, Dota 2 made that extra bit of a difference to me, as it was no longer just a title that I enjoyed whilst in the company of friends alone, but rather a title that I enjoyed playing solo too. What added to this, of course, was the improved visuals over other like-genre games. Graphics, for those of you that don't know me, are important to me. Now, I don't mean they need to be realistic, neither need to be fashioned in the 100,000 polygon counts with HD textures, tessellations, advanced shader and lighting models, and whatnot. I rather enjoy simple visuals as well, as long as they are done right. All aspects to a game are important to me, and if I'm going to spend entire hours with my eyes fixated on the screen, they better be getting some form of enjoyment at least. Cartoon graphics are not bad as long as they are clean and the developer shows quality in their work no matter what the direction of the artworks and the visuals are. Dota 2 does just that, and to be honest, although it felt a little off on my first boot up into it, it managed to strangely please me and have me enjoy the title quite a bit. Eventually, it grew more and more on me as time passed, and the visual side of things, I'll have to say, are both light on the PC requirements as well as pleasing. Trying to steer away from comparisons to other MOBAs out there, I will have to say that Dota 2 is known to be more on the punishing side of things with regard to the mistakes players make. It has a slower early game than other MOBAs and can seem a little more sluggish by comparison in its early game stages. It complements teamfights more, and the added slugginess from mostly the animation speeds in early game, along with the last hit and creep denying system, actually adds to the strategy of play to the title itself. The idea, for all those that are not familiar with MOBAs, is quite simple. Two teams of 5 fight it out against each other in a match to take down the enemy's base. In Dota 2, it is in the form of the Ancient. Victory of one team over the other is only attained through destroying the enemy's Ancient, and that is the gist of it all. The entire play of the game is then placed into the logic of lanes. There are 3 lanes from one Ancient to the other, each one containing 3 towers gradually spread out from the middle of the map to the team's Ancient itself. Destroying the towers allows progression on the map to push deeper into the enemy's lanes and ultimately reach their Ancient to destroy it. To accompany the heroes on their quest are minions or creeps. These are non-playable characters that pop out in groups on each lane to each side every 30 seconds and follow the lane to kill through enemy creeps, other players, enemy towers, and ultimately the enemy Ancient as well. The whole game from there on goes into providing for a range of strategy elements in pushing enemy lanes, defending your own lanes so that the enemy does not advance, sneaking up on the enemy between lanes using the map to one's advantage so as to team up on unaware players and help in the process of pushing the enemy to a defeat, often known as ganking. Along with a whole range of other elements which are part of the strategy, like jungling, that implies on farming neutral camps of creeps and minions in the locations between the lanes for golden experience, holding or denying rooms, and ultimately teamfights. Each player collects gold or loses it upon death to other heroes. With this gold they are able to buy items through a store through which they become ultimately stronger to be able to take on the enemy. Experience is also gathered for all kills either assisted on or accomplished against all enemy units, and each player from then on levels up to a total of 25 levels, becoming stronger with each level and unlocking access to their own personal skills. The entire game from there on is balanced into a roster of over 100 players, all of which are available on day one to every single person that plays the game, each with their own unique abilities and skills. Each character or hero is placed into a different set of roles based on their skills and characteristics that will determine their play and their role in the field. They can be pushers, they can be initiators for fights, they can be supports, tanks, disablers, carries, which imply to heroes that will most likely carry the game to victory in the later parts of the match, and so much more. Ultimately, the entire idea is having a great team of heroes that complement each other and can strategize together towards claiming victory. Dota 2 follows all the basics to MOBAs to the letter, creating a gameplay in matches that is divided into early game, mid game, and late game scenarios, along with a range of strategies and tactics for each one of these. I won't head into these strategies in detail as there is simply too much to cover with countless strategies and entire manuals and online guides out there available for all these, even hero builds, and so much more for one to master the game. The content is simple in its premise, however, it adds a lot of diversity and transforms a welcoming and easy to grab title into one of the most competitive team play experiences ever. And that is the core to Dota 2. It also has a good learning curve from being a beginner to becoming a casual competitor, yet then drops to a steep learning curve, which is quite good, from becoming a casual player to a real veteran. The risk and reward factor for the game is high. Unlike other titles, a cocky moment can punish you with rewarding the enemy with extra experience and a portion of your own gold, or it can reward you instead with all of that if you manage to pull it off. This holds true for most team fights as well, and mistakes are punishable much more than other MOBAs, further adding to even more strategies that can spawn from both failures and successes after that. Turnovers are also quite possible in the game, and although I have noticed many say that this is not so much the case with Dota 2, I'll have to say that that is not true at all. On memory, I have played many matches of the likes, and once I actually recall having 3 matches back to back that were all turnover matches. Perhaps it was my team that was mostly of late game heroes, but at the end they passed us with a whooping amount of kills, double of that of our own, and yet we still won each time and were able to turn the game over. And that is something important for people to keep in mind with this game. Kills don't win the game. Destroying the enemy ancient does. Many will whine over the amount of kills and they will try to chase them and whatnot, and others will try to see this title for what it is and treat it as a team game where all cooperate into one goal and one goal alone. That is, taking down the enemy's ancient for victory. Speaking of whining, I had a person whine at me for playing with the Dragon Knight and being at 2 kills and 8 deaths. Yes, well, ultimately I had 30 assists and initiated all the fights for the team to win. And last hits, or kill steals as they're called, can have you experience a small amount of kills at times. Some will whine over this, and others will simply look at their score as a 32 kill assist to 8 deaths ratio and enjoy the game. I prefer doing the latter. Which brings us to the last thing one should touch on with such a title, and that is the community. With such a heavily community-driven title, it is important to keep in mind what kind of people you can come across. And although you can find many positive players in this game, most of the time you will get caught up in whiners that like to boss you around or keep calling you a noob and whatnot. That is more than enough to make this game such an annoying experience. All you have to do is not let it get to you. Hell, maybe even blow off some steam yourself back at them. End of the day, small advice, you're playing against other people. And a better player or a better team does not reflect poorly on one's own performance. Sometimes you do everything right, yet the other side simply plays much better than you. Crying about it doesn't help. You do occasionally meet people that are fun to play with regardless. I even met such people from the opposite team, making the experience so much fun that, win or lose, we all had a great time. Although this is rare, it does happen. I give Dota 2 a thumbs up, with my final verdict being at a definite and full 8 out of 10. It can be quite repetitive, and it is pretty much the same thing, the same map over and over again. Sometimes the match length can be very tiring as well. Sometimes long matches might be exciting, depends on the match itself and the mood. An extra map for shorter matches would be nice, and after all this time and development, I don't see a reason why there is still only one map available. Apart from the repetitive nature of the game, which is the core of all MOBAs, the depth in strategy itself, whether it be from the 100 plus available heroes, the amount of things to learn and master from tactics, to teamfights, to builds, to skill uses, Dota 2 can cater to becoming a very deep game, eating away many hours on end, with most matches ultimately never being alike, resulting in quite a dynamic and diverse experience for such little content on the map side of things. This is a title that can cater to both casual and demanding gamers, depending on their mood. It takes care of mostly all aspects to a MOBA quite effectively. Some more game options though will be nice. The game shop is also not that bad, although it used to be better when items were rewarded for experience gained and for acquiring levels. It still follows a pretty good free-to-play model, and the fact that you have access to all and every hero in the game from day one, unlike other MOBAs, is a plus for Dota 2, making it anything but pay to win. There is in fact absolutely nothing remotely pay to win about this title, and the balancing is quite good, even with the cheese characters that can, however, be counted quite easily by a veteran. Definitely worth trying out. It can easily cater to your kind of flavor and keep you hooked. If it doesn't get you hooked, it's still a great title to pop in from time to time and enjoy some competitive MOBA action, or even keep it close to you for some casual friendly team play from time to time when you're in a mood for it. Dota 2 is definitely a thumbs up title that is worth checking out. That's it for this episode of Let's Play for Free. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw, and check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.